Jazakallah khairan. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Faisal Ayab. I'm from Victoria, and I'm also the chairperson for the World Mammon Organization for the Africa region. Just quickly before I welcome Dr. Bana, I just want to tell you about WMO. WMO is the World Mammon Organization with its headquarters in Dubai and its office in London, UK. We registered with the Charities Commission, so we fully compliant as an NGO. Now, what does WMO do? Well, primarily, we go around looking for money to distribute, like most of the NGOs do. And our motto is
What's this in
unite,
his jacket? This is the microphone.
uphold, and uplift. We've been in existence for the last 20 or 21 years, and over the years, we've raised in excess of $100 million. That is, we have chapters in India, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, the UK, Europe, America, North Africa, and the southern part of Africa. And Alhamdulillah, over the last 2 to 3 years, we've set up what we call the Global Youth Wing. Now, our representative for the Global Youth Wing for Africa is Sadaf Wahenda. And since she's come on board, Alhamdulillah, she's done a tremendous job. And I'm happy to see that so many of the youth that are here this evening. I want you to take further interest in WMO, and I'm sure Sadaf and Mohammed Moti and the others who are part of the local youth wing, you're going to find tremendous excitement with interacting with the international youth wing that is set over all over the world. I would now, before I say anything, I also have present this evening our executive members in Mr. Musa Kareem, who's been with WMO for the last 21 years with me. And then we have our ASG, which is the Assistant Secretary General, Dr. Harun Gata. The two of them are sitting on my right here. I would now like to call upon Sadaf to introduce Dr. Hani Albana, and then we take the program forward from there. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President. So thank you all once again for joining us on a weeknight. Please excuse me, I've been a little bit under the weather. My voice is a little bit hoarse. So my name is Sadaf, and as the head of the WMO Youth Wing in Africa, it is my deep honor to welcome Dr. Hani Albana and the Islamic Relief team here with us today. We're hosting this dinner in recognition of Dr. Hani Albana's contribution towards humanity and in the hopes that we as a young team in its infancy will be able to collaborate with Islamic Relief and learn from Dr. Hani Albana's deep knowledge and experience. In many respects, the WMO has a lot of similarities with Islamic Relief. While Islamic Relief started out collecting charity outside a mosque in the UK from the Muslim community, the WMO was formed to unite the global Mayman community behind charitable work. Like Islamic Relief, the WMO doesn't discriminate between race, caste, or creed in the work that we do. Unlike Islamic Relief, however, especially our youth wing is still in its infancy. So for us, this is really a great opportunity to learn more from you. I was going to tell everyone more about WMO, but Uncle Faisal has done a great job, so I'm just going to go on and tell you what the youth wing does and what the purpose of the youth wing is. So mainly, actually, the youth wing is like succession planning for the, for WMO. So it's the future of the organization. But the youth wing strategy, particularly in Africa, is to focus on projects with a long-term goal. And where possible, we like to use a research-based approach so that we can maximize. Can I just keep it here?
Yeah.
Okay. So where possible, we like to use a research-based approach so that we can maximize the effectiveness of the charitable money that we spend. So for us, this is really a very good opportunity to learn, especially from Dr. Hani Al-Banna, who's got a tremendous amount of knowledge and experience behind him. I was watching the Al Jazeera documentary on Dr. Hani, and one of the things I saw was that Islamic Relief collects $200 million a year in contributions, or over $200 million a year. For me, this was mind-blowing, especially given that they started out collecting charity outside a mosque in the early 80s. One has to be curious as to how one man fuels this kind of growth. Not for profit, but for kindness. Because we've heard a lot of stories about this happening for profit, right? Like, we hear these stories. But it's rare when it comes to charity. As I watched more interviews and started learning more about Dr. Hani, there were a few things that stood out. One was that he failed multiple times in many areas of his life. Another was that he persevered in all areas of his life. Now, many people will say that, this is the key to his success. And I'm sure this is part of it. But there was one more thing that really stands out when you listen to him speak. And one thing that really comes out is that behind all of this, what drives this behavior to keep trying, there is this sincere intention. And in his case, it was a sincere intention to alleviate the suffering of others. So I became curious then. Is sincerity of intention the key to success? And then, what is sincere intention? What separates an intention from a sincere intention? Maybe, I don't know the answer, but maybe a sincere intention is one that is aligned with our goals, our values, and our passions. And for each one of us, this can be different. So somebody might feel called towards working towards mental health. But then others might say, but the greater need is to work towards cancer, as an example. Why don't you do that? What matters, though, is what you feel called towards and what's in alignment with your own goals and your own passion. Because I believe that we all have our own role to play in this world, and ultimately, Allah puts our passions in our hearts. And then taking it one step further, maybe this is one of the reasons that so many of us face imposter syndrome in our careers today. Maybe it's not aligned with our own internal, what we really feel inside, what we really want inside. Are we chasing someone else's dreams for someone else's validation? So with these thoughts, I'm going to leave you, but it is our privilege to host Dr. Hani Al-Banna and the Islamic Relief team today to recognize them and honor them for their contribution to Muslims and to all of humanity. Not just in the charitable work that they do, but also because of their name. A name that has not been without controversy. I know there was some controversy around it when they tried to register with the United Nations. But Dr. Hani stood his ground. And because of this, in a world rampant with Islamophobia, organizations like Islamic Relief allow us and allow the world to review Muslims as compassionate and giving. So thank you for your contribution and welcome. Oh yes, we're going to play a short 2-minute clip so everybody has an idea of what I was talking about. Yeah.
We started because of the money. So the need of the people in Africa were the main inspiration. When we saw the images on television dying in hundreds and thousands in the Horn of Africa, Eritrea and Tigray, and this moved me and my colleague. And so really, there was no plan. There was no boardroom. We would sit down and discuss and communicate and read. It was the image. In 1984, we didn't have an office. We just have a small donation box in the wall. And when we had the first telephone line, we thought, here we are, we're going to connect and communicate with the outside world. We did not have any employee in 1985, all volunteers coming. But the most important thing in the first 3 or 5 years was the focus on the needs of the people.
Thank you, Sister Sadaf. Thank you, brother, beloved brother. Your name?
Faisal.
Faisal. Bismillah, mashallah. Thank all of you. I don't know what to say because I'm surrounded by love and caring and sharing and vision and future and hope and dream. This love will lead the man to last forever. This love will lead the individual to go beyond the limit. Because the one who put the limit is Allah when He looks at your heart, Sister Sadaf, Brother Faisal, and see that you are sincere enough. He is the one who will increase the capacity of your giving, no matter how much you have to give. Because giving is not a one way. Giving is a multi-dimensional ways. Multi-dimensional ways of giving. And the most difficult part of giving is giving love. And that's what I feel now, today, with you. That's why it's very difficult in my heart to talk. It's very heavy on my mind to find the word to express my feeling. To you. The hope and the dream is in you. When our fathers identify the continuity of the mission of giving, that's why they give the leadership to the young ones, which I'm very happy and proud to see all of them here. This is the way that a man will never die. With his mission, like the Prophet ﷺ, will live forever. And if he work for others, you live forever. Please, Sister Sadaf and your team, work for everybody to live forever for everybody and with everybody and to help everybody else. This image is from the video. It reminds me of the good old days, which were the good old days. No resources, no recognition, no respect to us, nobody talking about us. But we managed to go blindly with no torch in a very dark and difficult and a road of filled with challenges. Challenges that we cannot meet. But the one was taking us by the hand was Allah. That's why when I look at the images, I remember when I used to go to people, they used to push me out of the mosque or of the office and they ignore and. But the love of the people, Sister Sadaf and Brother Faisal, kept us going for 40 years, and our first donation was 20 pence. What we have now is more than 400 million pounds a year, which is him who is giving, not us who are contributing. When he gives with no limit, because he is the one who take you by the hand and tell you here and here and here. He is the one who gives the health, gives the wealth, gives the knowledge. He gives the vision, he gives the message, he gives the power, he gives the life, and keep you living forever in the hearts of people. That's why people cannot call themselves legends. The one amongst us here, all of you, will live forever when he or she will live for others. That's why prophets are not dead. We remember them all the time in our hearts, in our saying, in our fairy story to our children. That's why they could not be physically with us, but they are morally, socially with us all the time. And this is the love that I'm feeling while I'm standing in front of you. I'm very happy and extremely happy. Young people at your age and younger started this mission 40 years ago. Secondary school, young boys and girls, families, Asian families, Arab families, Yemeni, Pakistani. Indian, Egyptian. I can see them now. In London, in Birmingham, in Paris, in Germany, different places. They used to host us in their house because we did not have money to go to hotel. This was the love which was given to us by the community. The heart which can accommodate humanity. Your heart as a Muslim should be big enough to accommodate the 8 billion people living on earth with all the other creations of God. Otherwise, we have to question our Islam again and again and again and again. Sincerity, Sister Sadaf, was at the first steps of our birth in the 80s, when the young people during Ramadan, young people who are working for Islamic Relief, Germany, France, Holland, Belgium, UK, never spend Ramadan with their families. They had or have young children, never saw the daddy to have iftari or sahri with them. For the whole month. This is what you call sincerity. All of them did contribution to humanity because they love humanity, because Islam love and care for humanity. This sincerity took them 6 or 7 years, continuously, on the spot, not to be with the wife, not to be with the children, not to be with the community of their own, but to be with the community of the people that actually love them and they want to give them the amount of love they have, because all of them were standing for a common purpose for humanity. This is sincerity. Sincerity happens when you don't fight for a salary. You need the money. But with the less money, the barakah in your money will multiply the reward in your health. In less argument between you and your wife or you and your husband. In the health of the children, in the education of the children, in the success of the children. So it's not the money can drive us. It's the barakah of accepting what Allah is giving us. This is the sincerity, Sister Sadaf. Sincerity which will give you the success in your career. As you said, I'm the falling, failing man. That's right? Falling, failing man create failures. I am the failure. Even when I was proposing young girls, I was refused quite a few times. Alhamdulillah, it's good, but Allah gave me the best, and she is the best and stay the best. Alhamdulillah. And without her, actually, I could not have been here. Marry one like my wife. She is there, she is like my wife. And you have to do it. Inshallah, I'll give you the CV of my wife. So, when we come back to this, and you think that Allah does not give you that, but Allah gives you something. One day, we were crying because we were trying to get fund for South Sudan. And because we wanted to help the non-Muslims in South Sudan. And this was 2003, 2004. And the donor, which was one of the big organizations, global one, decided not to give us the money for South Sudan for political purposes. And despite the fact that our project was written with all the local community and organization in South Sudan, including security, intelligence, CSOs. But the donor did not want the bonding between the Muslims and the others. And they gave us the money for another part of Sudan, which was totally Muslim. I was in tears because we wanted, not I, astaghfirullah azim, we wanted to build the infrastructure between Muslims and non-Muslims in the South Sudan. So when they gave us the 5-6 million euro, it was not good for us. We wanted the few 100,000, which allows us to be with the people of Juba, the people of Malakal, the people of Wow, the people of Warab, the people who live in a very, very, very primitive way of life. But Allah supported us to work in the east, to work in the south, to work in the west, to work in the north, with no resources. With no resources. With no resources. Resources is something you don't have to worry about. You have to worry about your heart. If the heart is there, beating, having the pulse of love for humanity, having the pulse of caring and sharing for everyone, you are going to be rewarded in this life and in the life to come. Everything. Everything. When we started Islamic Relief, we had no clue what we were going to do. Nothing. To be honest, wallahi allazi la ilaha illallah, nothing to know. But the people who came the first journey of Islamic Relief were the young, like you. So invest and invest and invest in generations to come. Don't invest only in properties, in assets, in lands, in cars, in housing. The best investment and the highest reward is when you build human being, when you empower human being, when you support human being, when you stand up for human being. And the best way of doing this is education, 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 education. That's why the first word of Quran was Iqra. Iqra is not to read. Iqra is to gain knowledge. To gain knowledge. And keep seeking the knowledge. Give me some tissue, please. Keep seeking knowledge. Actually, all the way. And learn from everybody, brothers and sisters. You look like young, bright, wealthy, educated. This is good, but not good enough. You have to be with the people. If you are not with the people, or like anybody else. If you want to make the impact, it's not the degree. It is the pulse of the heart beating for you. I give you an example of one of my best friends. 10 years ago and more, he was dying of cancer in the larynx. And the doctor told the wife, and the doctor told his daughter. She was like you. The daughter was screaming at the face of the doctor, "My father is not going to die." The wife was in tears. Khalas, nothing. All medical treatment failed. Failed. One of his good brothers rang the people in one of the camps in the east of Sudan, told them, "Sultan is dying." The whole camp, the poor, the widows, the orphans, the elderly, the sick, the homeless, the whole camp was praying for Sultan from Zuhr to Isha. Sultan is still alive up till now. So the power of cure is in the hand of the one who gives the power of life to everything in life. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Sultan is like a walking miracle. with us. I was traveling with him to make an appeal in London for the refugees in Ramadan. And he told me this is the first Ramadan that I'm fasting because he could not be able to swallow because they do not have saliva. And what he invented to have chewing gum after iftari to take all the sugar out, and it becomes like a rubber or a gum. Okay. To keep chewing it the whole day to produce the saliva. And he was so happy because he has taken this fatwa from someone. So happy to fast the first Ramadan in 10 years after he was announced or he was diagnosed as a dead man 10 or 11 years ago. This is, Sister Sadaf, what you call sincerity. Sincerity led the people to smile at your face without knowing you. To when they meet you, said, I've seen you before, and you've never been in this place before. Because the one who will gather all the hearts together is the one who look at the hearts of the sincere people and bring them together. Sincerity is not a talk, it's an action. When you have a piece of bread in your hand and you are hungry and you give it to the one who needs this most. It's exactly what happened when this or widow who came to Hazrat Aisha with the two orphans. And the Hazrat Aisha has 3 dates. She gave her the 3 dates because Muhammad ﷺ did not have chicken. Was he eating chicken? Says Muhammad. Lamb, all what we eat. And the woman gave 1 date to each child. It was so sweet, the children swallowed it. And the 2 children looked at the date in the hand of the mother with love. So the mother split it and gave half of the date to this child and half of the date to this child. Aisha, radiallahu anha, when she looked at this graphic scene, she was shocked and she reported to the Prophet ﷺ. And they told her she is in heaven. And she said the hadith, اتقوا النار ولو بشق تمرة. Protect yourself from hellfire even by donating half a date. And this woman is in heaven. And this is the sincerity of caring and giving and sharing. Don't have to be how much money you have. You go to the billionaire, so what? You go to the poor man like myself, my رب درهم سبق ألف درهم. Maybe 1 dirham or 1 riyal and 1 ringgit will be before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Far more better than thousands and millions of dirham and ringgit. You know why? Because this is the only dirham I have. 2 greatest donations that I have taken in my life. One was in Yemen, in Taiz, in 1995, and one was in Brooklyn, in New York, in 1994 or 93. Something like this. The Yemen one, I was given this was 95, which is the year of the massacre of Srebrenica. Go to Bosnia to understand the agony. I'm not going to take you to this agony now. But at least the people being slaughtered in Srebrenica in 3 days, nearly 11,000. When the UN peacekeeping forces surrendered the city into the Chetnik of Serbia. Anyway, I went to Yemen, madman, you see. One of the signs of sincerity is to become mad, to do the things that nobody else can understand. Are you a madman? Come make him madman. I was raising fund in khutbah in Taiz, talking about a young girl who committed suicide. You know why? Because she was multiply raped and she became insane. And she hanged herself in the middle of the wood. And there is some piece of poetry about her. Even I called her name Suada, which comes from happiness. And it was affecting my heart and the people there. A man came to me, and this is the donation. A man came to me, tell me, doctor, I have 5 real. 5 real at that time, maybe 2 cents. Can I give it to you? Said even 1 real is more than enough. When he opened his hand, the 5 real as a banknote was so old, if it falls on the ground, it will be cut into pieces. I took it from him as one of the best donations I've ever seen. And when I kissed his head and kissed his hand, because it's a tradition in Yemen, I smelled the dust in the head. And I remember the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, رب أشعث أغبر مدفوع بالأبواب لو أقسم على الله لأبره. Maybe this man who have dusty hair, uncombed hair, wearing old ruined clothes, when he knock your door, you look from behind the windows. Oh my God, he is here, he is again. You ask who is your wife, but it's not for your wife. For your daughter, for married, will never give it to him, her to him. He is such a man. If he make a call upon Allah, Allah swiftly respond instantly. This was the best Yemeni donation. The second was in Brooklyn during Ramadan. We're actually going around in Ramadan from city to city, from town to town, mosque to mosque. And we're talking about the vehicles of heaven. Because at that time we have book talk about heaven, the beauty of heaven, the distance of heaven, the men of heaven, the women of heaven, the vehicles of heaven. And this revert, Afro-American, came with a token like this, which was the food for his children. Tell Doc, I said what? He said, this $3 token is what I got from the municipality. Can I donate it? He donated the food for his children to us. With these 2 donations, you can imagine the barakah of the 5 real and the food token is more important for us. Never undermine or underestimate of a small act of an individual who make ithar, prefer you to himself and his family while he is in most dire need than you. ويأثرون على أنفسهم ولو كان بهم خصاصة. They prefer to help you even if they need the fund that they want to give to you. And this is sincerity, Sister Sadaf and Brother Faisal. So to conclude, because I have to stop, isn't it? To conclude, I say I love you. I say I'm very honored to be with you. And they say the right hero of tonight are those images. You have seen them. If they're alive, they will pray for us. If they are dead, Allah will witness that their life has affected us. At that time, there was no Muslim charity organization in the whole of Europe. That's why you have to start from scratch. And there was a big argument. What shall we call ourselves? The name. Any humanitarian name or Islamic relief? We said, no, it has to be Islamic relief to let people to understand that we are Muslim professionals. You have to deal with us.
Can I ask a question? I know this is not the forum for questions, but can I ask you a question?
Come on, stand next to me and elevate me. Come on.
I just want to ask, we get this a lot as the world, as the World Women Organization. We're trying to move away from it, right? Because we do work for everyone. And we try not to discriminate. And we are also trying to extend our profile and get money from non-Himans as well. This is our aim, this is our goal. So as Islamic Relief, did you face a lot of, I'm sure people thought that maybe you only work for Muslims, but in terms of, like, let's say people that want to join you, to work for you, like your employees, your staff, your volunteers, how has this been? Do you see that this is only Muslims? What about non-Muslims? Like, how is this in terms of your brand, like positioning?
Thank you, Sister Sadaf. At that time, we were looking for identity. And we said, our identity is Islam. Our action is humanity. Deal with me as a Muslim, and I'm very proud of that. But I will never discriminate. From the first day, we have Muslims and non-Muslim employees. When you heard the argument at United Nations, it was about the name. I was called that come back after 2 years. We'll put you on roster status. I said, no way. You know what I have done? What I have done? Friday, 26 or 27 of March 1993, I took the microphone and I stood on the podium without permission. You got it? You are in front of maybe 50 or 100 ambassadors, standing without a permission from the chairperson and holding the microphone and speaking. I said, sir, can you come down? I said, I'm not going to come down. I know that the discrimination was against us about the name. I said, we have given you what you want. All the report, what you needed. All the budget and everything. What else you want? 1 week we have been here. Don't be afraid of you are in the United Nations, big organization. Don't speak out. This is what happened 30 years ago, last March. You know who supported us?
Christian.
The Irish ambassador.
Yeah.
He stood up and said, ladies chairman or chairwoman, we have heard the Islamic Relief have given us all the reports, everything, and I am endorsing Islamic Relief. There was nobody endorsing us at that time. Even there were 3 Arab ambassadors in the room and turned their back to me. Because I have beard, my name is Al-Banna, and Islamic Relief. Very, very inflammable individual. And the man said that, and we got the registration because of the recommendation. Second time we made it to come back to you was in Geneva. I was attending another high-level meeting. I was wearing Sherwani. You know Sherwani? With the same long beard.
Yeah.
And I felt in this meeting that the stage is talking about linking Islam to terrorism. And sometimes, wallahi, Allah opens something in your mind to let you understand what's behind what they say. I took the microphone and with an angry voice, I said, never ever, I remember the wording, associate Islam to terrorism. Islam is a religion, came to save humanity, and it did. Came to produce civilizations, and it did. Came to teach you science and technology through the believers in Islam. Never come and tell me and connect Islam to terrorism. And everybody was quiet. And I was in a very, very angry mood because they did not spell it out. But Allah inspire you to understand what they mean. Then when I left the room, the Irish, not another Irish, what's the name? Caritas representative was talking about the discrimination against the Catholic in the 70s. And said, we have something in common with the Muslims. Then when I came back, listen to this, this is for you. Come on, elevate me. Look at the crowd. We were hoping to meet the director of World Food Program at that time. I were hoping, after this very not aggressive, very boom response, who came to me? The director of the World Food Program came to me and said, "Sir, this is my card. Whenever you come to Rome, come and visit me." You're wording because your heart was sincere in front of those people, and Allah inspired you to find in between the lines what they meant of connecting Islam to terrorism. And when I went to see him in Rome, of course we have to invent something that were meetings in Rome and. I told him, I was harsh. He said, no. Unfortunately, we're not. We thought civilizations started 200 years ago. But as you said, civilizations started 1,000 years ago by you people. I'm very happy that you came to see me. And I'm very happy, another token of appreciation, the icing on the cake or the cherry. You put this cherry on the cake or the strawberry?
Cherry.
Cherry.
Yeah, cherry.
He told me, come to our global meeting and speak from what? From your heart.
Right.
And this was the response of a speech which you have to give it at the right time, at the right place, no matter, because you are protecting an identity that thousands and millions of Muslims have tried to let it reach humanity. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Doctor. Very inspiring. The one thing that
I was after him.
has come out is we need to invest and invest and invest, not into the stock market or into properties, but into the youth. And I'm so happy that we have so many youth here today. Before I pass on my concluding remarks, I do have some housekeeping announcements to make. But I just want to acknowledge Mrs. Farida Mia, who's here with us. As you know, recently we lost our friend, our brother, and a philanthropist in Said Mia. And Farida, I'm so happy that you're with us here today. And if Said was here, he would have been so happy because he walked through the streets of Joburg making sure that his contributions were there. I'd like to call upon Fatima to please say a few words on behalf of Sincerity.
Thank you. Pleasure. Allah bless you, inshallah.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I'm honored to stand before you today and express my heartfelt gratitude on behalf of Islamic Relief for the unwavering support of the WMO which you have provided over the years. Over the years, our partnership has grown stronger, and together we have been able to support many disadvantaged communities across the globe. Your valuable contributions have enabled us to save lives and has brought immense positive change to the beneficiaries we serve. We appreciate the commitment and dedication that the WMO has shown us towards our mission in helping those in need, and we hope that our partnership will continue to grow, and we look forward to working together in future on many other projects. In conclusion, once again, I would like to thank you so much, and as the Prophet ﷺ said, those who don't thank mankind don't thank Allah. We thank you for being a source of hope for those in need, and we'd like to present a small award as a token of our appreciation. Uncle Faisal, can you please accept this on behalf of Islamic Relief?
Okay, brothers and sisters, we almost at the end of it. I said I'll be short of chairs tonight. Oh, they all sitting. Okay, I'm actually glad that there's so many youth here this evening. And Sadat, thank you very much for that because we've been trying for the last couple of years to get the youth together. The announcement I want to make is the WMO, the Africa chapter. In fact, all the chapters are going to be having the elections for the new office bearers for the next 3 years. And these, we haven't finalized the date. Sadat is going to post the date of the AGM, which we hope is going to take place in Durban. And I'm hoping that all you youth can be with us at this AGM. Our electoral officer who has been appointed for the African chapter is Dr. Harun Gata. He will be sending forms out, and I'm hoping there will be greater participation from all the youth. The exciting thing about wanting to attend the AGM in Durban, we've been fortunate that we've been gifted a beautiful piece of land in the most beautiful part of South Africa, which is in Umhlanga, by our philanthropist, our trustee, Mr. Sadat, given us this land with 10 houses. And Alhamdulillah, 2 of the houses have already been built, we're waiting for 8 more. And this is going to create an income of close to R250,000 a month. And this income will be spent by WMO for its activities. So, Alhamdulillah, I'm hoping that all of you can attend this AGM. And it's going to be very convenient because you can fly into Kinshasa Airport, attend the meeting, there will be lunch, and after the tea break, you can take the flight back to Joburg or Tanzania or wherever. That was the one announcement I wanted to make. Secondly, before I go, Shahid Yusuf to recite the concluding dua, I want to thank you, Doctor, for giving us such a wonderful talk. And when you talk about investment, it is the future that I'm seeing here, not just for WMO, but for the Muslim community that are going to carry our flag forward. So inshallah, we have been battling over the years to get the youth on board. But what I see tonight, I'm very, very encouraged. And on behalf of WMO, I want to thank all of you for coming out here this evening. We don't want to keep you too long. We're going to have supper just now. We know our roads are not safe, so please get home safely, drive safely. And may I conclude with this tweet. Muslim NGOs have excelled and worked incredibly hard in order to reach millions of people across the world. And no one is more understanding of the principle and the essence of what zakat means beyond the transaction. And this was tweeted by our doctor. Alhamdulillah. Thank you so much. Shahid Yusuf, would you please do the concluding dua?
Please also thank all the volunteers tonight because they put in a lot of hard work. Zahir,
Alhamdulillah,
Asghar,
absolutely.
all the people that came out and always say yes and do all the work. You volunteers.
Sadat is just reminding me, sometimes when you hold the speaker, the mic in your hand, and you forget to say one or two things. So to each and every one of you that are here this evening, on behalf of all of us, especially on behalf of WMO Youth Week, we'd like to thank you for being here with us. And I hope you've enjoyed the session. And I'm also hoping that you're going to enjoy the incredible food that is to come, inshallah. Thank you.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين ربنا ظلمنا أنفسنا وإن لم تغفر لنا وترحمنا لنكونن من الخاسرين ربنا لا تزغ قلوبنا بعد إذ هديتنا وهب لنا من لدنك رحمة إنك أنت الوهاب ربنا اغفر لي ولوالدي وللمؤمنين يوم يقوم الحساب اللهم إنا نسألك من خير ما سألت منه محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم ونعوذ بك من شر المستعان منه محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وأنت المستعان وعليك البلاغ لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم وتب علينا يا مولانا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين.